Hi all. The first step in deploying EKS Anywhere clusters is to actually have an administrative machine which bears the EKS Anywhere software package. Now, if you go by the official documentation, which I can show here, you can see that there is a procedure that is documented by AWS to actually install EKS Anywhere. But I think, in my view, this is not the only thing that we will be encountering in this blog series. There are many other things that we will need to do. And as you progressively go in depth into EKS Anywhere, you will realize that there may be a certain need to, bring in your own Ubuntu operating system as the, OS template for the cluster nodes. Plus, you might have reasonable requirements around customizing those OVAs that will be running in the cluster nodes. So the point is that instead of shuffling through so much of documentation and maybe spending around 4 to 5 hours in manually setting up things, what we have done is actually automated the entire procedure through a Terraform template. Okay, so as you can see on my screen, this is the administrative machine which will bear all the software packages that are required in this blog series. At a minimal, you need Docker Homebrew to install EKS Anywhere. Once EKS Anywhere is installed on a Ubuntu host, it includes EKS-CTL and kubectl by default. So you don't have to necessarily install these utilities again. But as I said that, there will be additional procedures unless you're using BottleRocket as the OS and you plan to use Ubuntu as the operating system for the cluster nodes. You will have to undergo additional, routines to actually create these things actually. So this particular Terraform script that we will be using to create the administrative machine already has the embedded methods to deliver all the prerequisites for creating custom images and things like that. Plus, on top of that, you will also have the requirements to additionally install these utilities, which come very handy when you're working with Kubernetes. Sometimes Terraform, JQ, YQ, Helm, Argo CD, Flux, and whatnot, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is, instead of spending a lot of time, we can simply go to the GitHub repository, which is under the user ID, the Cloud Garage, and this is the repo. And then change a few variables, very basic variables, which are your vSphere configuration and all that. And then on a machine, if you have your own laptop or whatnot, you could simply issue the Terraform configuration, and then the outcome of that will be this host with all these things already installed. Okay, the entire script of Terraform execution roughly takes about 30 odd minutes. Point is that it drastically saves the effort. Number one. Number two, it will actually remove all the dependencies at your end in terms of going through the official documentation and doing all these things manually. So let me just go over to the GitHub site actually on which this particular. So you can see here under the user ID, the Cloud Garage, the EKS Anywhere repo is hosted, and in that, what I generally do is I maintain this GitHub on an ongoing basis to include all the supporting source code templates, demos, examples, whatnot, to facilitate the blog series. And one of the subdirectories here is this EKS-A admin machine, and inside of that is the Terraform configuration. So you can see these two files, main.tf and variables.tf. As such, you don't need to change anything in the main.tf. It is already pre-populated with the required scripts. I've also highlighted the specific inclusions that are there in the script in the blog itself, actually, to this, in which this video is attached. The point is that you will have to change the variables.tf. Okay, and in that you can see these are very basic, prerequisites in terms of the credentials of vSphere, the endpoint, data center name, and things like that. The only thing that you will have to be wary about is that I have kept this the vCPU count and the memory to a greater extent, because we will be doing a lot of things from the EKS Anywhere administrative machine, okay, other than just creating clusters. So I've kept it a little higher. You can refer to the official documentation in terms of the minimum requirement. Point is that once you are done with this Terraform configuration, you get all the prerequisites bundled in, and the EKS Anywhere administrative machine is installed. The other thing to note is that the default virtual machine root password, for simplicity's sake, I've kept it as Ubuntu. This will be the password for the Ubuntu user, the default user, and also the custom image builder user. Actually, you can change it if you want to. I would say, for the sake of simplicity, if you're practicing or just for a production grade deployment, you definitely have to change that. And some of the IP configurations, like the static IP that will be used for the administrative machine, it's always good to go with the static IP, because you will be running this machine for a longer period of time. Once you are basically, if you understand this, I will go back to the slide here and try to actually explain to you in a pre-recorded video of how the routine runs and how the virtual machine is created, which is the EKS Anywhere administrative machine. So we start by cloning the GitHub repository, and once we do this, you can see that we will observe or edit the variables.tf to change, like I described, the variables, and then simply initialize Terraform and then apply the Terraform configurations. And you can see that a lot of background processing happens till the point that the Ubuntu machine is created, cloned, and all the utilities get installed, including the image builder prerequisites. We can go into the vSphere console, see that the machine is created, and from there we can grab the IP address. I mean, we anyway know it's a static IP address, and just SSH into that machine, which is the EKS Anywhere administrative machine, now fully bundled with whatever is required, and then just observe, like Docker is already installed and things like that, right? And what the prerequisites that we want are already there or not. So we can see that Docker has been installed. The homebrew would also be installed here. Docker Compose will be also installed. And lastly, we will verify if the EKS Anywhere software has been installed or not. That's the most important piece of the puzzle, right? So we can issue the command EKSCTL Anywhere version, and we will see that a certain specific version has been installed. Now, note that as you keep doing this, the latest versions may be in play. So just, bear with that. Okay. In this case, you can see that the version 11.3 has been installed, which is good for us actually. Okay. So that brings us to the conclusion of how do we install the EKS Anywhere administrative machine. Once this machine is installed, and if you follow the subsequent articles, you will see how seamless and easy it gets to create your EKS Anywhere clusters.